Welcome. And thank you for joining us on another episode of today's Electrical Estimating. I'm your co-host, Chris Trommer, and shortly we'll be joined by the other co-host, Sal Huerta. Picking up from where we left off last week, this will be part 2 of our season 2 wrap-up. Last week we discussed tariffs, and this week we're going to be jumping into the possibility of a construction slowdown for the remainder of 2025 to 2026. This conversation first came up when we were speaking with Barney a couple weeks back, who was stating how he's seeing a lot more bids coming in on jobs than they had before, and also how he's having to bid for a lot more jobs, and things aren't just getting awarded. Instead of doing 10 bids to 1, and he's having to do 20 to 1, even more. So we're just going to take a quick talk about this, go over some facts we're seeing online, personal opinions, conversations we had, see if we could just have a conversation. We're going to mention in there, love to hear your thoughts on this, especially your particular area. Anything you can tell us if you're experiencing higher than normal construction in your area, if you guys are keeping up, not seeing a big backlog, we're seeing a lot of different things coming through. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes. So we really hope you enjoyed this conversation. Hope you're able to pull something away from it. We appreciate you joining us and don't want to take up much of your time. So again, appreciate it. Take care. Last time, Sal, we were discussing tariffs and how they're hitting the industry, how they're affecting some people, our insights, and we really came down to the notion that no one knows what's going on, and especially us. So listen to us for fun, but we're not going to, unfortunately, be able to give you the catch-all answer for this. But something else that I sort of think goes along with the tariffs that Barney had mentioned to us that we could get into a little bit deeper. Is there a possible industry slowdown, like a construction slowdown right now? Is that something that's going on? Because I know I'm seeing a lot of these projects getting finished in Connecticut. I've seen a lot of projects. There are mixed use residential and commercial projects being finished, or large residential projects being finished that I drive through the state and see on a continuous basis. Honestly, I know we got a new school coming up right now, but that was passed a year ago. But I haven't seen a lot of new construction. And Barney had told us he's the same way. You brought it up when we talked about tariffs, him going outside his comfort zone of his niche and his specialty and looking at different jobs and also expanding his area of where he works. And he told us, I'm used to put out what, 10 to 1 ratio, 10 bids to win 2 or 3. Now he's putting out 50 to win 1 or 2. That's a signal to me that things are starting to slow down. If you're having to put out more bids to win jobs, I guess that's one signal. I think the bigger signal that Barney brought up, at least in my opinion, would be that his GCs are telling him they're going from getting 10 bids on a job or maybe less to now seeing 30 or 40 bids on a job. Because that would be the signal to me that there's starting to be some kind of construction slowdown. And he's in Seattle, so we'll just make sure that's said, because obviously every part of the country is a little different. But that would be the indicator to me. Because if you're having enough companies now that you're going from 10 bids on a job up to 30 or 40, it means there's not as many jobs out there. So you got more and more people bidding on the jobs that are available.
And this is the transition period that does happen. We talked about tariffs as being the driver for this one, but in the past has been other economic conditions that have caused this type of same scenario. But what happens is right now we're in the phase where, like you said, the jobs were bid or awarded a year or so ago. So it's the finish up part of it. So
Yeah.
people are still working, they're finishing their jobs, they're doing the stuff they need to do with the current jobs that are out there. But what's going to come, and that's where we're talking about the possibility of slowdown, is the gap in between, where it's not that the jobs aren't there, it's just that the owners of these jobs aren't going to pull the trigger on these jobs yet with the uncertainty that's going on. I mean, you're asking them to invest in something that they have no idea what the outcome is going to be as far as the cost.
Yeah.
And as a business owner, you're never going to do that. So you're going to wait longer until something solidifies. Tariffs are arranged, or they're between the countries or whatever, and it's all set in stone, and it's going to be good for the next 5-10 years, whatever the scenario.
Yeah.
Yep. But once those are in place, then the owners can go back and take that uncertainty away from their investment.
Yeah. I mean, there's that damn word again, uncertainty. I feel like we don't stop saying it, but unfortunately, that's where we are. I mean, Barney said it himself. When you're sitting there as the owner of this property and you're going to be building out and you're reaching out to GCs, I mean, you got to look at your profit margin as well. Everybody in the whole silo from the top all the way down to your subcontractors, they're working to make money. They need to make profit. They need to be able to keep their business running, keep the lights on, feed their families, pay their guys, pay their bills. I mean, so if you're going to start on a medium to large size project, let's just say, and you're the guy who's starting this, I mean, looking down and going, okay, well, my profit margin could be shot as well. What if I just hold on to the land for 3 more years until we get something more cemented? I pay, whatever taxes they pay on just the land itself. And then we pick up then, and then I know for sure how much I'm going to be making off of this, and I can walk away with a nice profit. Because I'm sure when you invest in something like that, you don't want to lose. I
Yeah.
mean, obviously nobody wants to lose, but if you're, this company that's investing in developing a, 5-acre mixed residential commercial space, and you're saying, okay, we're going to build all this out, we're going to put all this money into it, and then at the end, you're barely making a profit on that. Doesn't look good for you. I
Yeah.
mean, so why not hold off for another year? Why not hold off for 6 more months? I mean, I feel like at this point, most people had thought that tariffs would settle because we've talked about this before. It's not just electrical. I mean, we talk about electrical, but you can't just build a whole building on electrical. You need your steel coming in for your framing. You need your wood for your carpentry. You need, your plumbing and your PVC, and you need all this stuff that's most of it not coming from us.
Right.
So I don't know. It really does feel like that there's some kind of at least slowdown. Maybe it's a pause because of tariffs. Maybe it's not a slowdown. Maybe it's just a pause. Maybe things are right around the horizon and we haven't seen them yet. But from what Barney's saying, and then, doing some research online, and, people are saying that the US construction industry in 2025 is experiencing sort of like that growth challenges, a mix of growth and challenges. I mean, some are forecasting it's going to be a slowdown in overall construction starts. Others anticipate continued expansion, but only in sectors like engineering and residential construction. I'm still seeing residential, but one house at a time.
Mhm.
It's one house at a time. I mean, you got all these big data centers that are going up, but they're not in every single state or in every single town. I mean, you're getting a few in each different state. So you're not getting work in Connecticut when they're putting a new one up in Wyoming.
Right. Yeah. So, and you're right. There are going to be segments that are probably going to do okay. And again, a lot of it was, like you said, the data centers. They were preset years ago, so they knew that they were going to start, expanding that across the United States. But in housing, we've had a tough time over the past number of years. And so for those projects to be okayed and ready to go, and that's already done. It's just that newer stuff that's fallen through the cracks. And again, like you said, is it a pause? It is only 6 months. Is it a slowdown? Is it a year? That's the kind of stuff that we're just not sure of what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I mean, that's some of the positives. Like you were just saying, residential construction, there's still a huge demand. I mean, you can see with the price of housing to being the way they are, there's way more people looking to buy than there are houses available. I mean, we're starting to see a turnaround, I guess, or swap in positions without getting too detailed. But ever since the 2008 housing crash, we haven't really caught up to that same amount of housing, or at
Mhm.
least residential one family houses. So that's still there. I mean, as we said, data centers, there's still government investments into that with, growing that and company investments. But, there's still that word again, that economic uncertainty, policy uncertainties, trade, tariffs, supply chains, material costs are starting to go up. Another big thing, labor shortages. you want to talk about starting a project where, we talked to Nick a while back there. They used to have classes of 20, 30 guys coming in there for apprentice electricians, and now they're getting 5 or 6. I mean, and it's not just talking about electricians, it's everybody again. I mean, I guess this could be more of a widespread thing since it affects everybody, but I'd be interested because it seems like from everything you go through and you read and you research, like, hey, where are we? What is being impacted? People are like pretty much on the same page that new construction starts are slowing down.
Mhm.
That we saw increases over to 2023 and 2024, but construction spending for non-residential, like we talked about, is slowing dramatically this year going into next year.
And, and that's just, like you said, not only to one of your points, as far as the people in the trades, I think the average age of the people for all trades is like 50.
Yeah.
So like I said, newer people coming in are, that's going to be an issue coming up.
I
Uh,
mean, so you look at it not only material pricing issues, but now you're looking at labor shortages,
Labor
which
shortages.
could possibly drive up the cost of labor because you have less people. So if you want to drive people on there, which again looks at price increases to the person building out these buildings that have to also look at interest rates on any loans they have or any other kind of financial investments that they need to make. So, which that side of things has also been a little up and down lately. So,
And we talked about, even we talked about labor. If you're having an older generation of workers, they're at a higher scale than your apprentices or journeymen, or I mean junior techs and so forth. So, that adds more cost to the job as well.
yeah, I mean, I guess we're gonna have to find some more people to chit chat about on this one. Obviously, Barney has been a source for us in the past. You can go online and read. But I mean, I went through 15 different websites. They all say a little bit different. Obviously you get reports from everybody. Everybody pulls their own understanding of what they're reading and what they're seeing. But, overall, it does look like from the information I'm seeing here, from what Barney's saying, there might be a little bit of a slowdown coming into the rest of 2025, 26. Is it because of tariffs? Is it because of financial situations? Is it because of this uncertainty across the board? I don't know. I haven't found a direct answer for that. So I guess this episode might be more of a question to our listeners. Are you an estimator? Are you a contractor out there? Are you having to bid on more jobs? What are you seeing? Are there less projects out there to bid on? Are you expanding your territories? Are you going after jobs you haven't? We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to understand because we want to get your feedback because then we could have more of a conversation on this. Because right now we're drawing from, like we said, from Barney, from what we're reading online. And it's hard sometimes to draw that complete picture as well. I mean, especially when you're seeing a lot of these electrical manufacturers posting record earnings or they're surpassing their expected earnings for Q1 or for Q2. And you're like, well, things must be going great if all these companies are hitting record earnings or they're surpassing their earnings and all these companies are doing well with sales. But then you go online and you start reading things and listening to people and you start seeing a different picture. But there's that side that says everything looks great. Again, I think this is as we had the last episode. It's not as much we're giving you the keys to the kingdom, but we're just trying to discuss things that we've seen, things that we've talked about, things we know about, our own opinions. But we want to hear from you on this one, especially this one. If you're listening to this podcast anywhere in the channel that you are, manufacturer, distributor, contractor, whoever you may be, we'd love to get your feedback in the comments to let us know. Are you seeing things going down or is work just skipping along just like it has been? I think that would be very helpful for us at this point.
Well, and there's just one more point I want to bring up when it comes to manufacturing part of this is that, there's always talk, when you watch the news or stuff like that, where they'll say, the local person or the average person will say, well, why don't you just buy American? That will take care of this. There's no tariffs or anything on that. And in a small segment of what we do here in the electrical industry, there are some companies that are manufactured and do everything here within the United States, and that's definitely a route that contractors will have to look at. And you mentioned it earlier in one of our conversations about, yeah, if you've been dealing with a certain manufacturer your whole time because all your crew and everybody knows how to install those things and so forth, but now you find a manufacturer that is American made and all the products are here and they are tariff free, that might be something that you have to start looking at.
Yeah.
The other side of that is that there is a made in America, and then there's the assembled in America.
Yeah.
So there's two different things there. Whereas you know if it's American made, then like I said, it's everything that they can gather here within the United States. But if you're assembled, well, your parts and pieces are coming from all over the world, and so
Yeah.
that's where the tariffs are going to come there. Even though you're alluding to it as being you know um, here in
Assembled.
America,
Yeah.
it's not. It's assembled.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, that's the same, to put it into reference. That's like some of the car manufacturers who build the cars in Michigan, but all the parts are coming from Mexico and Canada, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess one thing to look at here is there's already going to be supply issues. We've already had supply chain issues since COVID, and it seemed like they were just starting to get sorted out, but they're still there, I guess, because from what I'm reading into, people are still running into those supply chain issues, maybe not as bad, but they're still available. But everybody's now talking about made in America, but how much is actually all made? How many products are available? Can a contractor go, we're doing made in America, and go actually buy a whole bill of material for his upcoming school? And every product there is made in America, which now can maybe offset some of the costs, but offset some of um, the lead times as well. Is that even availability? But then at the same time, well, that's great. But if everybody has the same thought, they all buy in America, how much can these American companies make before they don't have products? Their lead times start going back up. It's a great thing to have, but if it catches on and it is working, then if they weren't up to process of creating as much product as available now or going to be needed in the future, then your lead times are going to go up as well, which then affects how the construction industry is going to move as well, because you're not going to start a project if half your products lead times are going to be way farther out than what you're going to need, because then you run into the scenario like you said. Okay, you won the bid, the project starts, and you're like, okay, phase one, we're going to bring it on, and you go to your distributors and like, yeah, we don't have it. And it's like, well, why? Well, because all the guys came in and bought up the last two projects yesterday. Now we don't have anything on our shelves, but it's coming in. You're like, well, what about these guys? Well, everybody started going with their made in America brand. So now their lead times have gone up. So, could that be something affecting it? I don't know. Again, I think it's something we're hearing about. I'm seeing here, as we talked about, just giving you some sources. I mean, the American Institute of Architects saying this year is a projected slowdown dramatically. Another site here saying with construction activity from the current cycle declining and limited projects with fill in the pipeline, 2025 is going to be a crucial year. But then you go up, and the next guy is like, the U.S. construction industry is poised to be robust going into 2025 and driving favorable economic conditions, government initiatives. So I guess too, it really gets down to what part of the business you're in. I mean, if you're out doing data centers, you're doing great. If you're doing residential, probably doing good. You're staying even probably. But if you're going to be doing any kind of new large scale projects, it seems like that could be either mixed use or business or commercial. It seems like, for the majority of stuff we're reading, there could be some issues going forwards. So again, thank you for listening this far along, but please comment on here what's going on in your areas. Like we said, Barney talked with us a couple weeks back. He's from the Northwest in the Seattle area. If you're from Arizona, New York, Texas, Florida, Massachusetts, Maine, wherever you're, let us know. Are you seeing a slowdown for new projects coming into the pipeline? Are things status quo? Or is your business booming? Give us some insight. We'd love to hear from you. Hey, if you want to jump on and discuss it with us, let us know as well, because we always love to have somebody on here, talk shop. So as always, Sal, great talking with you.
Thank you again.
Take Take care, everybody.